Get ready for a political showdown with a spiritual twist. President Trump's recent strong words about Pope Leo XIV are causing ripples, and it could have a significant impact on the upcoming elections. President Donald Trump has really stirred the pot with his criticisms of Pope Leo XIV, sparking outrage among Catholics both here in the U.S. and around the world. This clash with the Vatican could make an already tough election season even more challenging for Republicans, as Trump risks alienating a crucial voting bloc. Just a few days ago, the president took to Truth Social to call the pontiff, who happens to be the first American pope, weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. He later told reporters he was not a big fan. This hasn't gone over well with several prominent Catholic leaders, even those who lean conservative. They're urging Trump to apologize, emphasizing that people shouldn't have to choose between their faith and their country. Kelsey Reinhardt, president and CEO of Catholic Vote, stated that Trump's post crossed, again, a line of decorum that plays an important part in diplomacy. And this is significant because Catholics are the largest religious denomination in the United States, making up about a fifth of the population. Pew Research Center data shows that Catholics tend to lean Republican by about 10 percentage points. However, it's not a clean sweep. In 2020, Trump actually lost the Catholic vote to Joe Biden. But in 2024, he fared better against Kamala Harris, winning over Catholics. Now, looking ahead to 2026, election forecasters are already predicting a tough year for the GOP. Republican pollster Brent Buchanan has been tracking Catholic voters, and while he notes that American Catholics are generally independent from Vatican directives, a continued public spat with the Pope could spell trouble for Republicans this fall. Buchanan points out that the papacy is an ancient institution. Regardless of religious affiliation, people generally recognize the Pope and associate him with broad, positive, and moral values. He describes Catholics as a swingier group in the electorate, almost acting as a bellwether for the country's political direction. So he suggests this unnecessary conflict is generating unwanted noise for a vital swing demographic. Pope Leo XIV himself has responded, stating he has no fear of the administration and reaffirming his commitment to speaking out against the war with Iran and defending migrants. While disagreements between Washington and the Vatican are not new, political scientists note that this particular war of words is unusually public, personal, and partisan. Vice President J.D. Vance, who is a convert to Catholicism, has indicated the administration isn't backing down and takes issue with the Pope's anti-war comments. He believes the Pope needs to be cautious when discussing matters of theology. For decades, conservative Catholics have sought a relationship with the papacy, recognizing the growing influence of Catholic voters. But it's always been a complex political landscape. Republicans, like Trump, often find themselves at odds with the Church's teachings on issues like war, social justice, immigration, and the death penalty, while Democrats face opposition from Catholics regarding abortion and LGBTQ+ rights. The Pope is often seen as a neutral party in international diplomacy. Recent polls show Pope Leo XIV is more popular than President Trump, making his criticisms of the Iran war harder to dismiss, especially as administration officials have invoked religious references to garner support for U.S. actions. Even some conservative Catholics who support Trump's policies are expressing concern about his tone. Kevin Roberts of the Heritage Foundation believes both leaders ultimately want peace and suggests a more direct dialogue, similar to the relationship between Ronald Reagan and Pope John Paul II. He thinks there are more constructive ways for the president to engage with the Church on policy disagreements. Catholic Vote's Kelsey Reinhardt is urging people not to turn this public disagreement into a grand showdown, calling it false and something Catholics should reject. Bishop Robert Barron has suggested that serious Catholics within the administration, like Vance and Secretary of State Rubio, should engage in dialogue with Vatican officials, a far preferable approach to social media statements. Political science professor David Campbell believes there's little to gain for Trump and Republicans by fighting with a popular religious figure like Pope Leo XIV, who has been measured in his criticism. He anticipates Republican candidates, especially in swing districts with large Catholic populations, will likely try to steer clear of this dispute to avoid appearing hostile to the Church or its leadership. Despite this, some conservative leaders remain confident that Trump's connection with his religious base will outweigh any reservations about his comments. Ralph Reed, a prominent Christian conservative activist, believes Trump has a deep reservoir of appreciation among faith-based voters that can weather disagreements on social media. This is particularly relevant with the resurgence of faith among younger voters. However, Trump has shown no signs of heeding calls for a less public summit. He's continued to criticize the Pope, most recently on Truth Social, questioning the Pope's focus while highlighting Iran's alleged human rights abuses and nuclear ambitions. Polls suggest a majority of Catholics, like most Americans, disapprove of Trump's performance as president and agree with the Pope's opposition to the Iran war. Republican strategists are advising candidates to change the subject, perhaps by asking, "How about them Yankees?" as a way to pivot away from the controversy. And that's the latest on this developing story. We'll keep you updated as things unfold. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more news and analysis.